What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I'm bringing you first of the brand new archetypes from Amazing Defenders. The Amazing Defenders will hit our shelves technically tomorrow, which is the 19th of January. Today I am bringing you the brand new archetype of the Mikankos, which you guys have voted for, and tomorrow I'll be bringing you Rescue Aces. If you want to be picking up your singles or the boxes, go to tier0games.com. They've got a brand new website and all of the singles are now up for you guys to see. So let's dive headfirst into this profile and show you exactly what we've got. So as you can see, I haven't actually bought any of the cards yet because I'm doing this a little bit early so that I can give you guys as much information as possible so you know what type of build you want to make and what ratios you want to be looking for. So we're going to start off. Now this version I've kind of put together is the most popular version around right now. I wanted to make it a Mikanko like OTK deck, and what I mean by that is you'd play stuff like Nibirus, you'd play stuff like Lava Golems, and basically you'd go second, break your opponent's board, and then start swinging in with your Mikankos. Now they actually have all 0 attack, but battle damage you would take is inflicted to your opponent instead. So that's where attacking with the Onimi, I believe it's the Onimi, is the ritual monster, would actually do you the most damage. And then of course you've also got the swordsman and everything else like that. So you've only got 3 of the Mikanko monsters, and we start off with 3 of the main ritual monster. This card's actually insane, but in this version I've mixed it with the Libromancers because they utilise the fact that they don't need to be normal summoned. They open up some synchro plays that you'll see at the bottom of the profile. The other versions that I kind of saw wasn't really a Mikanko mix. It was more so, okay, cool, well I'm playing 4 Mikanko cards and the rest are Necros or the rest of something else. So with a version like this, it is very, very playable. It can do quite well actually because the Libromancers are very good at spamming the board. But I'll explain that as we go through it. So you start off with 3 of basically the Queen. So you get to ritual summon this card with the Mikanko Kagura, which we only play 1 of, but it does look amazing. And it can't be destroyed by battle. Also, your opponent takes any battle damage you would take from battles involving this card instead. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You reveal this card in your hand and add a Mikanko card from your deck to the hand, except itself. Then you have to discard a card. Quick effect on the field, you get to target an equipped spell in your graveyard and equip it to an appropriate monster. So if that doesn't kind of signify exactly how this deck runs, I don't know what else does. It's a ritual-based archetype that revolves around equipped spells, but all the equipped spells have some really nice effects. Some are like Snatch Steals, and that can be very utilised with the card like this. Now, other versions are only playing 1 of each of the Hair Swords and the Nini Mirror, but I've gone with 2 and 2 because I still want that capability. I kind of was still torn to still have that OTK capability, which is why a little bit further on down the list you'll also see Nibiru. And the reason I went with that is because I was like, you know what, if I go second, it would be really cool to like Nibiru my opponent's board, make the Nibiru a fat stack monster and say, no, put it in attack, and then get one of my monsters out and attack with it and then just OTK them that way. It'd be really funny. So Hair the Sword Mikanko. So if this card is not equipped with any equipped spell, you take no battle damage from battles involving it. If it is, it cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would take from battles involving it instead. So again, if you, for example, were to Lava Golem your opponent, and then you were to normal summon out the Hair, special summon out the Nini, and special summon out the Mikanko, you can just attack all 3 of those into the Lava Golem, and your opponent would take 9,000 damage. So I think that's a really kind of cool mechanic. It is very specific, but I still think it's a good one to kind of go with. If this card becomes equipped with an equipped card, you get to add a Mikanko spell, equipped spell from your deck to the hand, and you can only use the effect once per turn. It's a level 3 warrior, so you can play Reinforcement of the Army if you want to. With the Nini, again, if it's not equipped with any equipped card, you take no battle damage from battles involving it. If it is, it can't be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes the battle damage. During your opponent's turn, while this card is equipped with an equipped card, quick effect, you get to target a face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase. So that's kind of a nice little snatch deal, and that's why you'll see in the extra deck we play in the Vampire Sheridan, and I think that's like one of the best cards to be playing with something that is basically stealing your opponent's monsters. So that's it for the Mikanko monsters. Everything else is pretty standard. So you've got the Diviner, which is basically your Ritual Searcher. It's the main normal summon of the deck, and the way you can special summon out the Hair and the Nini is you have this great Mikanko of Legend, which I'll get to in a minute. We then play 3 of the Fire, 3 of the Geek Boy. This is all pretty standard on this one. 1 of the Agent, 1 of the Doom Broker, and then the 1 Ben 10. So that's all pretty straightforward and simple. I don't think there's much that needs to be explained on that. But the way that this kind of works is normal summon and Herald, normal summon Diviner, send Herald, makes it a level 6 tuner. So then all you need to do is special summon Libromancer Fire, which you will get or you'll be able to search the ritual monster that's required to special summon this card from your Mikanko or off of the herald that you send. And then you basically get a free Baron de Fleur, so you don't even need to worry about your opponent's your opponent's effects or anything like that. So that's pretty straightforward on that one. That gives you your Baron synchro plays, and then you've also got Geek Boy. So Geek Boy obviously searches out your spell card, which at the moment you're only playing the field spell because it then gets you into red. But it can be summoned off of V-Telly as it is a psychic. Pretty much straightforward on the one agent and the one Doom Broker, and then of course Ben 10 because it will search you out Diviner. We've only gone with one because you are playing free Preparation of Rites, which can also search you out your Mikanko and itself and Doom Broker, so you've got loads of targets on that one as well. Nibiru can be cut to make it a 41 card deck, but like I said, I quite like the idea of blind going second. No one expects Nibiru turn 1, and then you Nibiru your opponent and then get to swing in for huge amounts of damage, which is kind of cool. The Ron Renard is a bit interesting. Now, you can play a small warrior engine in this deck if you want to. And the reason this is so good is you go into Isolde. Isolde can then send an equip spell, which you can then start bringing back from the graveyard or re-equipping from the graveyard with your Mikanko Queen. And then off the back of that as well, you do also have additional synergy because then Renard can be used as synchro material. It can be added back to the hand. It can do a lot of decent plays as well because it can add back one of the equip spells is what I mean, sorry. So then we get into the Great Mikanko of Legends. So this is the quick play spell card. You get to special on one Mikanko monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, but return it to the hand during your opponent's end phase. So this is a way that you can cheese out the ritual monster for pretty much free. You get to banish this card from the graveyard to send a Mikanko card from your deck to the graveyard, except itself, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So the idea is, quick effect, or ideally you reveal your Mikanko, you discard a card, or you add this, you discard a card, you activate this, you special summon down the ritual monster, that then sets you up some form of interruption, and then off the back of that as well, this can then be banished to send one of the equipped spells that you might be missing, and that will get even more important once I show you which we have. So you've got the Abaku, I believe it is, of the Mikanko, which is the first equipped one. So the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by card effects, and during your main phase you get to special summon a Mikanko monster from your hand or deck with a different original name than the equipped monster. Now keep in mind, this one does not ignore its summoning conditions, so you cannot summon out the ritual monster. If you do equip it with this card, then return to the hand the monster this card was originally equipped to. So again, this is a way that you can equip it to pretty much anything and then bounce that card back to the hand. So again, that's where Renard comes into play because you bounce this back to the hand, and as long as you control a fire warrior monster, you can just special summon it down for free, or it can become a normal summon or anything like that. We've then got the one Blazing Dance, so you get to special summon a Mikanko monster from your hand or graveyard, and if you do equip it with this card, then you can special summon one monster from your opponent's graveyard to their field and negate its effects. Now, you don't have to do that, but it's one of them ones where if they've got an insane boss monster in the graveyard, you can just bring that back and then smash into it, and you'll do extreme amounts of damage to your opponent. Then we've got the Ritual Spell, so this is the Mikanko Kagura. I think the artwork is absolutely amazing, so it's all three of the monsters on there. This card could be used to ritual summon any Mikanko ritual monster. You must also trigger monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed. Love it when a ritual spell says equal or exceed. I hate it when it says exactly. Always annoying, that one. And then you get to apply the following effect. Now this is where this card gets really, really good. Destroy a card your opponent controls up to the number of equipped spells with different names in your graveyard. And if you do, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent for each card destroyed. So for example, if I actually properly ritual summon the Mikanko, I'm going to call it Queen, but the Mikanko, you'll basically then be able to pop 2. Like if you get the ability to have a quick play, so let's say you used her effect and you searched out the quick play then let you special summon this down and you discarded a equipped through its effect, right? So that's one in the graveyard already. Then you've got the ability to banish the Great Mikanko from the graveyard to send an equipped spell. You can then use the effect of this to activate the equip spell. I believe it's during your turn, isn't it? You reveal yeah, quick effect, you target equip spell in your graveyard, equip it to the appropriate monster. So you Foolish Burial an equipped card, or you discard a equipped card with her effect. You then bounce her back to the hand. So let's say you use something like the Mikanko, the Archetype. You then get to send another one. So straight away you've got the ability to pop 2 of your opponent's cards and then burn them for 2000. And then off the back of that, all you then need to do, if you Lava Golem them, for example, is you can get a hair to the board, special out a hair, special out the Mikanko again, or you ritual summon this out and you just swing it for 6k. Now obviously that's a bit of a long-winded example, but you can kind of see where the OTK idea was there. I just felt that it needed something like the Libromancer to increase its consistency and playability. We've then got Inviting Rondo of the Mikanko. So far I believe the ultra rares are this one here. I believe it's this one here. And it's these two, or the fire. I know the fire is definitely a collector's rare, and then the queen is definitely a ultra rare. So you equip it to an opponent's monster and you take control of it while you control a Mikanko monster, but it cannot activate its effect while you control it. When this card leaves the field, send the equipped monster to the graveyard. You can only control one inviting rondo, and you can only activate one inviting rondo per turn. So it's a really kind of cool effect. So this is one you want to Foolish Burial, because then what you do is you can use the queen to kind of re-equip it, and then you take control of your opponent's monsters, which is strong. And then we've got the one Purifying Dance of the Mikanko. So equipped it to a Mikanko monster, it can't be destroyed by card effects. And if a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during damage step, you get to target one monster your opponent controls and one monster you control and one monster your opponent controls, return to the hand. So it's a nice like double compulse, which is kind of cool, and lets you recycle your materials. It's also good because if you use the Great Mikanko of Legend, the card's going to come back during your opponent's end phase anyway, so you just get a bounce that you were already going to get. Free preparation rights, already talked about the targets on this one. Free of the first appearance, so this is the field spell for the Libromancers. Free E-Telly to get your Geek Boys out. One Call by the Grave. One of the Libromancer interventions. So this is your trap card that can actually be looped around quite nicely, soaking your fire from the graveyard. And then we've got one of each of the traps. So this is just to kind of showcase all of the cards they currently do have. They do have a field spell as well, which makes your opponent attack the Mikankos, I believe. So it means that they'll have to deal damage to themselves. But yeah, we got the Mikanko Promise, so special summon a Mikanko monster from your hand or deck, but banish it when it leaves the field. Then you can equip it with one appropriate equip spell from your hand or graveyard. So that's kind of cool because it lets you get one directly from the deck. Again, it will only let you get into the fire or the water. It won't let you get into the queen, which is why I'm playing two of each of these. And then we've got the one cat fight. So if you control a Mikanko monster, target one face-up monster on the field, equip it with one appropriate equip spell from the deck. And if an equipped spell or spells is sent to your graveyard while this card is in the graveyard, you get to banish this card, then target an equipped spell in your graveyard and add it to the hand. So again, recyclability for the graveyard, and it's just kind of the opposite of Promise. So where Promise lets you get an equipped card, a monster from the deck and then equipped it from the graveyard, this one lets you get an equipped from the deck. So it's kind of more ways of getting to your one-offs, but the card you're desperately going to need, you're going to go through the queen to get anyway. Then we move on to the extra decks. The extra deck is pretty standard. So Herald of Arclight, you can actually summon this, believe it or not, because if you special summon out Renard, you can actually sync it with either one of these two. But the chances are 9 out of 10 you're going to send it with Herald, Diviner of the Herald. Same with Natish, you're just going to send it with Diviner, so it's more of an aggressive push. Baron is very simple, so Diviner, normal summon, send Herald of the Arclight from the extra deck, or Natish, doesn't really matter. Makes Herald a level 6, special summon out Libromancer Fire, and then that's your Synchro level 10, protect you from everything going forward. The reason I've got Sulking in here, again, is just to kind of show you another option that you can play if you don't have Baron. Now, it's not as good or as close to Baron, but the way it can work is you can actually get your Agent on the board very easily, you can get your Doombroke on the board very easily, and you can also get the Mikanko Queen on the board very easily. And that's where Diviner comes in, because let's say normal summon Diviner, Diviner sends Herald, sends it to the graveyard, get you your Queen, Queen discards a card to add you your Great Mikanko Legend, activate the Great Mikanko Legend to special summon the Queen, and then you can just sync those two together into your Sulking, set a card, and then Sulking summons out Crystal Wing. So pretty straightforward on that one. Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles is actually a really interesting one. So the reason this is so good is it's a generic level 9, but if an equipped card becomes equipped to an monster on the field, even during a damage step, you get to destroy one card on the field. Now the reason that works so well is with the Mikanko Queen, obviously you're equipping cards during both players' turns, so it's a really kind of nice interaction, which is why also a lot of people do play Infernoble Knights with this deck as well. I like the fact that I kept it, or with the Libromancers you keep it very ritual based, and I thought that was really kind of cool. And then during the end phase, you can equip one equip spell from your hand or graveyard to this card, and then you can equip one Fire Warrior monster from your deck to this card as an equip spell. Now, obviously, you can equip Renard, but it's very rare you're going to do that. All of the Mikanko equip spells can be equipped to any kind of monster. It doesn't actually have a restriction on what it can and can't go on to, so you can still get plays off the back of that as well. Beatrice is a level 6, just for the pure Foolish Burial capabilities of her. She can send any card, so this will give you the ability to send an equipped spell that you might be missing, and that's where your Queen can then come in to then interact with your opponent. Vampire Sheridan. Now, Vampire Sheridan is actually more important when you look at Jinzo Layered. So for those of you who don't know, Vampire Sheridan, if you use a monster or monsters with a level that is owned by your opponent for the XYZ summon this card, you can treat it as a level 6. Now, we've already talked about it. You actually have 2 cards that can steal your opponent's monsters, so the Nini and the Inviting Rondo. So if you were to steal 2 of your opponent's monsters, you can make a rank 6 of it, which is hilarious as heck. And then you also get the ability, off of the Vampire Sheridan, to detach one material from this card, target a card your opponent controls, and send it to the graveyard. And then if a monster card or cards is sent from the field to your opponent's graveyard by a card effect, obviously his own effect, or a monster is destroyed by battle and sent to your opponent's graveyard, you get to detach a material from this card and special summon one of those monsters to your field in defense. So, now, the reason that works so nicely with Jinzo Layered is Jinzo lets you detach a material, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and take control of it until the end phase. It can't activate its effect or declare an attack. If a trap card is on the field, you get to tribute one monster, and if you do, destroy one face-up card on the field. So you can only use each effect once per turn. Now, the idea is that Jinzo, if you haven't got a second card, you can actually make a Jinzo. Jinzo steals one of your opponent's monsters, and you just make a vampire as well. It's just a bit of an odd tech. You don't have to use it. But like I said, the extra deck in this really doesn't matter. Apart from the Heralds and the Natisses, you could arguably play Extrav as well. I've seen people play Prosperities. You could do that. So your extra deck really doesn't make too much of a difference. One Cross Sheep, obviously you can get the Synchro effect off, you can get the XYZ effect off. Chances more than not you're going to do the Ritual effect, which is draw 2, ditch 2. So that can be very important, because if you draw into or you already have equipped spells, you can just ditch them to the graveyard and recycle them as you go. IP, pretty straightforward on that one. Same with Unicorn, same with Appaloosa. And then obviously Isolde, like I said, is 2 warriors, which I believe is only being able to be done with hair, because everything else is just, not a warrior. But it's basically, the idea is that you could technically normal summon one of these and then special summon another one. But it was just to show Isolde, because again, it's more consistent in the Infernoble Knight deck because they are just flooding with warrior monsters. But the idea is that when you make Isolde, Isolde sends an equipped spell to the graveyard, summons out Renard. Renard can then add that equipped spell back to the hand. And then keep in mind that all of these cards, for example, so if you go with, is it this one? Yeah. If you go the Obscure, you equip that to the Renard, activate the effect, to special summon a Mikanko monster from your hand or deck with a different original name than the equipped monster. So you've equipped it to Renard, so there isn't one called Renard, you're good to go. So that will then let you get any of the Mikankos from the deck to the board, and then you get to add the Renard back to the hand. Now obviously if you summon out the Hair, the Sword Mikanko, it is a Fire Warrior, so you then get to use Renard's effect to just special summon Renard down for free again, as you've bounced it back with Isolde. And that's pretty much it. So like I said, I've tried to go for a bit of a hybrid build. I know that the Libromancer is the most popular version out right now. I feel it is the most playable version right now. Infernobles are really kind of cool, but I don't think you use as many of the Mikanko cards. You kind of focus more on the equipped spells and you play like one of the ritual. With this, I actually still maintain the heart and soul of the Mikankos themselves and had the ability to still kind of highlight the OTK capabilities that I feel this deck can have. The issue is at the moment, until they get the Wind Mikanko in the Cybernetic set that comes out later on this year, they don't really have enough monsters to put on the board in order to get to lethal, unless you're giving your opponent a 4,000 monster, which you can't do with something like a Lava Golem. But that's where Nibiru comes in, because I think Nibiru, definitely game 1, Nibiru is something a lot of people won't expect. They'll play into it, and then you can put the Nibiru token in attack. The other thing about that is, though, that you do need to make sure that they're equipped with equipped spells, and then you also need to make sure that if you are going to go in that route of direction, you need to win the game, because if you just attack into it, and then they can clear your board and attack with a huge token, it's pretty much game over. You've just given them the win by giving them a Nibiru that you can't get rid of. So there's definitely a lot of plays to do. I have seen a couple of versions where they would basically go 2 Mikankos, swing into something like a Nibiru or a Lava Golem, and then go into a Nightmare Cerberus in main phase 2 and then pop it. So they've already done a lot of damage and then go in for it. And I think that's where Lava Golem kind of steps up a little bit, because the Lava Golem itself will actually burn your opponent for 1,000. So all you need to do is get 7,000 damage and the Lava Golem will finish your opponent off from there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has given you a couple of ideas on your own build and a couple of different kind of concepts to look into. Like I said, I feel that the Mikanko should be dropping down in value, and it's definitely worth picking up because you don't really need many of them. If you wanted to do it in a small engine, you can do as well. And I feel that it really highlights aspects of ritual decks around. If you want to just add one to a Necros deck, you can do. If you wanted to play with the incantations, you can also do, because they really don't care about their extra deck, and it does give you a lot to play around with and a lot of different options. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.